everyone. So, and we conclude the training for today. So, the thing I would like to share with us are the concepts I believe they are creative enough to help you as an entrepreneur to be able to achieve the goal that we set out to achieve. So, and I believe from the previous speaker, Miss Joanne, what the legal session she took us through, you've been able to see how to build a lasting and sustainable business, which is, put structure in place, incorporate some sustainable practices, and of course, that helps you to become sustainable. And if you're sustainable, it means you're forward looking and you can get to have a business that can outlive you. And of course, there are some things that I'm going to be also sort of talking about later in this presentation. So today we're going to be looking at these creative, I call them creative solutions. Okay, so they are concepts. I have like 5 of them that I believe that if you can implement them, okay, it's guaranteed that your business is going to not only survive, it's going to thrive, and not only thrive, is going to be a sustainable business. Okay, so uh, these 5 things are what I put in this table of context. I call them number one, spirituality. Number two is entrepreneurial leadership. Number three is relationship. Number four is system and structure. And then number five is skill. Each and every of this topic is a topic that in a consulting firm we deep dive into, as a separate topic or as a separate subject to entrepreneurs. Okay, so this is one of the modules that we, work with entrepreneurs when we are working with entrepreneurs to help them to build a sustainable business, to help them to start a business, try, survive, thrive, and being sustainable. So first is the spirituality aspect. Now, let me tell you this. In whatever we do in life, you cannot underemphasize or overlook the aspect of spirituality. Spirituality is very vital and important. Sorry, I would put my video so that you can see me, since it's a recorded session. Okay, so spirituality is a very pivotal and important concept in anything we do in life. Life itself is spiritual. Life is not, we can't take life at face value. Everything we do in life, we have to incorporate the spiritual aspects to it. And same thing as business. Life is spiritual, business is also spiritual. So if you're not spiritual enough, I can bet with you there is a dimension of life, there's a dimension of wealth, there's a dimension of results that you will not be able to tap into. And when I say spirituality, I don't mean you just have to be like, oh, a Christianity or a Muslim. I mean a vital connection with your creator. Okay, that's what I mean. You should have a vital connection with your creator where you are able to communicate with him. So it's about building a relationship and building a fellowship with your creator. This I cannot underemphasize it. It's very, very important because there are some decisions that you have to make that after going through all the data that you have access to, the data set you have access to, after consulting every human, your peers, your mentor, role model, you try to model other people's way of making decisions, and then you consult people that are reporting to you after you have been able to gather all this information from all the other sources. What will remain at the end of the day is the decision you make with your heart, okay, based on the information you have gathered, from top people at your level and then people who are reporting to you. At the end of the day, the decisions you still make will come from your heart. And I can bet with you, most of the decisions I've made, for example, for myself, and some of the entrepreneurs that we work with, based on their hearts, coming from the place of fellowshipping with God, fellowshipping with their creator, as a positive, and not only positive, we call something a cathedral consequences. Okay, when we say cathedral, what we mean by cathedral? A cathedral, like for example, cathedral is a building that is built to last for decades. Okay, so that's what we say. We call that a cathedral thinking. So when you're making a decision from the cathedral thinking perspective, you're making this from a decision based on your heart. And of course, making a decision based on your heart is coming from the place of your fellowship with your creator. This is important. You don't joke with it where business is concerned. Okay. Then, in this case, how then do you able to make your decisions in business based on spirituality? Number one is from establishing a personal relationship with your creator, like I mentioned before. And then number two, which is very important also, is purpose. You see, for everything we have in life, there is a purpose to it. So also, as you and an individual, you have a purpose of being on earth. And the business you are currently starting or you were proposing to start, it has its own purpose also, which you must not overlook. Okay? You cannot overlook it. So purpose is a an important thing that helps you to be able to stay connected with your creator and be more influential and impactful on earth. So you have to discover, and a lot of people come or look at this from the point of why. Okay, what is your why? Why are you doing what you are doing? Okay, why are you investing in this and not investing in that? Why are you making this decision and not that decision? Stuff like that. But the ultimate why is the why of why are you actually, engaging in anything that you are doing. So discovering your path in this, okay, and pursuing it wholeheartedly is what makes the difference for your business to be a thriving and a lasting business. And then the next one is that you need to follow your heart. Follow your heart means that, like I mentioned, after you have looked into all the data, after you have consulted every individual you can consult, you know, professionals in each field, you will still be the one to make the decision as the owner or the director of your business. And when you're making these decisions, don't just make it based on data alone. Data is important. Make your decision based on data, but don't make it on data alone. Let it be something that you have an heartfelt connection with the decision you are making. And of course, this can only be born out of a relationship or fellowship with your maker. And then the next one will be a servanthood or stewardship. So when you know your purpose, you're making your decisions of doing anything you're doing based on your heart, then you should be able to steward every gift, every opportunity, every challenges, every anything that you are giving, anything that you have, you must be able to steward and serve it to other people. It is in the place of stewarding what you have and serving what you have to other people that you are able to create something. You have to always be ready at every point in time to steward whatever you have, steward your business, steward the relationship that comes your way, steward the every single dime that comes into your business should be stewarded. Okay, so you should learn and cultivate the act of stewarding and treat your business as if you are a steward, not just the owner of the business. So you have to steward everything you have. And in the process of stewarding it, you are also helping yourself to be able to, position yourself or take a position of a servanthood where you're saying, I'm a person serving the rest of the world with the opportunity that I have. I'm someone taking a position of servanthood, serving the world with the product, the services that I have or that my business is creating. So this is also very important. Stewardship and servanthood. Then the next one is giving. So on spirituality, giving cannot, when you are talking about spirituality, you cannot remove giving from it. Okay. And of course, giving is somewhat in a way connected to stewardship. Okay. Because if you are a good steward of what you have, if you're a good steward of your business, then you will be a giver. And giving doesn't necessarily mean you have to, be donate money or it's part of it that is included. Okay. For example, if you look at all the rich people, okay, let's even use Nigeria because the example that is coming to my mind that I want to mention before is Bill Gates. But let's look into Nigeria. Look at the top three, okay, the top billionaires in Nigeria. For example, Aliko Dangote, he has his own foundation. Femi Otedola has his own foundation where they give. Of course, these people give money. But look at another person. For example, look at um, Tony Elumelu. Tony Elumelu doesn't necessarily give like this philanthropic activity in terms of giving money to, donations to. He is stewarding new generation of entrepreneurs in Africa. And this is stewarding, this is giving. So, like I mentioned, you might not be able to really separate it. So, you too, as an entrepreneur, be ready at every point in time that your business should be able to steward the and people and things that you have around you and be able to give to them or give in that direction also. So steward and giving, you cannot separate them. So steward the opportunity you have, steward the people that you have around you, steward the things that you have, and at the same time give to them. Okay, your time, your energy, your resources, everything, not only money. Ensure that you give. So that is that about spirituality. So like I mentioned, this is a course on its own, but I have just decided to give you like a brief overview of it. So next is the concept of entrepreneurial leadership. Last lecture that we had, we talked about introductory to entrepreneurship, where I introduced you that what is entrepreneur. So an entrepreneur, like we mentioned, is someone who takes calculated risk in an organized setting, such that value can be created for everybody that is involved in this process of creating the value, the value. Okay. So you do not only create value for your customer, okay, or the users. You as an individual, you also capture value as you are creating value for other people. So the value that flows through you is the currency, the income that you make, the profit that you make. But at the same time, you also create value for the people that for your users and for your customer in the terms of services and products that you give to them. And other people in the entire value chain of creating these products and services also will capture their own value in the sense that, for example, the professionals you are engaging will earn you know, um, their own reward from or value from the process. So, for example, if you consult a professional, this professional is going to be having his own, say, consultancy fee or something or whatever. And so every touch point in your value chain will have their own value that they capture from the whole value chain process. So this is what entrepreneurship is all about. And then leadership. What is leadership? Leadership, as far as I'm concerned, is primarily problem solving. Okay, so you solve problem. So leadership is working through other people to actually solve problem. Okay, you work through other people to solve problem. So this whole thing, then both of them coming together becomes the entrepreneurial leadership. So this entrepreneurial leadership concept, I came across it in 2020 while I was doing my MBA program here in Hong Kong. All right. So since then, I've been trying to look into it like, okay, how can this be helpful in helping businesses and individuals to achieve whatever it is they want to the goal they set for themselves. So I realized that after looking through everything about this, that entrepreneurial leadership is about your ability, the behavior, and the mindset that you have as an individual or as an entrepreneur. So, what are these things that you have? So, this ability, behavior, and mindset are manifest in three ways, which is number one, in relationship, also materialized in terms of resourcefulness, and then also materialize in terms of being responsible. So first, let's talk about relationship. So relational, the main purpose, okay, the primary purpose or the main objectives of an entrepreneurial leadership ability, behavior, or mindset is people development. Okay, so the ultimate goal of leadership is people development, such that we say you are not successful until you have a successor. Okay, no matter how much success you are being able to build as an entrepreneur, you are not successful until your business actually outlive you. We put in place some things that will ensure that your business can outlive you, and that if you step aside today, can your business actually survive? Can your business thrive without your active involvement in your business? So how you do this is to go through the part of people development. So the way this entrepreneurship ability actually manifests itself, or behavior or mindset, is that you focus more on people development in an organized way to profit everyone that is involved. So the profiting of everyone involved is where the entrepreneurial aspect comes in. So people development for the profiting of everybody is one of the major goals of entrepreneurial leadership, which will help you to build a thriving and sustainable business. And at this stage, it means that you care about. So, what when we talk about people development, okay, what does it mean? People development means that you care about people enough to ensure that they get better. Okay, they want to do better than the way they did yesterday. And when I'm talking about people development, I'm not talking about just only the people you are leading. I'm talking about yourself. Okay, leading doesn't start with leading other people. Leadership starts with leading yourself. So you have to lead yourself first. You have to care enough about yourself to be able to do better. Okay, you want to do better what you did yesterday. You want to beat your record consistently, and this is how you are able to build a thriving and sustainable business. And once you are able to do this for yourself, then you are able to scale it. You know, Pastor Sam Adeyemi wrote a book. He called it Lead. I forgot the title of the book. So I read the book a couple of times. So the central uh, message of the book is that solve a problem for yourself. You know, after solving this problem for yourself, package it in an organized manner, and then use it for other people to solve other people's problem. And this is how you multiply. Okay, it says multiply yourself by leading. Okay, so the way to multiply your influence, multiply your impact, multiply your business, multiply whatever it is that you are doing, is that after you have been able to get a solution to a particular problem, you multiply it. Okay, through other people. And the way to do this is that you care about other people's becoming better than they were yesterday. Okay, so next is resourcefulness. As an entrepreneurial leader, you your focus must be to be resourceful. Resourcefulness is one of the backbone of a thriving and sustainable startup. An individual or a business individual who is not so resourceful, you are actually not a business person, because you will always be placed in a tight corner. And this is where the concept of constraint comes in. Okay. In economics, okay, we say that we have endless need, but we have limited ability to be able to meet our needs. Okay, and based on the fact that we have endless wants but limited resources, this then creates the concept of constraint. So because we have constraint, then we have to be resourceful. There are situations, there are events, there are things that will place you in a tight corner. So how do you maneuver as a business individual or as an individual? How do you maneuver yourself, maneuver your business to be able to achieve what you set out to achieve? This is how you this is what we term as being resourceful. Resourcefulness is this. And when we talk about resourcefulness, we're looking at effectiveness, we're looking at efficiency, which later leads to scalability. So you have to be effective, meaning that you get the job done, no matter what happens. You see, we will always say something. Okay, one of my leadership coach that I respect so much is John C. Maxwell. He will tell you that your leadership ability determines your level of effectiveness. In his 21 or law of leadership, the book 21 law of leadership, one of his, he call it the law of effectiveness. All right, so one of the ways to show your yeah how your you will be able to achieve what is that you will be able to achieve as a leader. So your leadership ability is determined by your level of effectiveness, and which is getting things done. And then efficiency means that you get things done with limited resources. Okay, so yeah, to explain efficiency to you, we have two soldiers. They both go to war. They are commanders, okay, two commanders. They both lead their troop to go to war with 10 men each. The first commander, of course, both of them won their war, okay? They're sent to separate war, the same intensity, same kind of problem, same kind of challenges. Then both of them were effective in the sense that they won the war. So effectiveness, tick. Now, efficiency, one won the war, left with 7 men. The other won the war, came back with the whole thing, people in his troop. So who is efficient out of these two people? Can I have somebody say which of them is efficient? The
The one that came
troop
back
A
with the whole
that
team.
came back with 7 people with the whole team is the one that is efficient, right? That's correct. Okay. So efficiency means you achieve your results with limited resources. You eliminate waste at every possible outcome, at every possible step. Waste is being eliminated. You maximize your results while minimizing your cost. Okay. So this is what you call you maximize your benefit while minimizing your cost. That is what we refer to as efficiency. And when you are effective and efficient, it is just natural for you to grow, which brings scalability. Okay. So these 3 things are the hallmark of a resourceful person or resourceful leader. If you are resourceful as an entrepreneur, if you are resourceful as a leader, you will be effective, you will be efficient, and being effective and efficient will bring you into scalability. Okay. Next is responsibility. What do I mean by responsibility? Responsibility, like Sam Adeyemi will say, is responsibility. Your ability to be able to respond to situation, your ability to be able to respond to events. That is what we refer to as responsibility. So um this is the key to being responsible is discipline, diligence, and persistence. So you have to be disciplined, you have to be diligent, and you have to persist. And when you are doing this, there are 2 ways to have it. Number one way is to, be disciplined at work. Now, work is not about how many hours you spend on what you do. It is about how effective and efficient you still are in doing what you do. And then the second thing is you are diligent at, of course, discipline and diligence at working and being persistent at work. So that's one thing. When we are talking about responsibility, it's about number one, work. Okay. Then number two is about learning. Okay. Those two will go hand in hand. Which one comes first depends. Of course, you learn first and then you're able to deploy what you have been able to learn, okay, in terms of work. So the first thing is that you become disciplined, you become diligent and persistent in learning. Then number two is that you become disciplined, diligent, and persistent in working. And this is what we refer to as responsibility. Then we can say you are responsible. So if you are stewarding relationship, you are able to, be resourceful and you are responding enough to the your ability, then you are building your entrepreneurial leadership ability, mindset, and behavior. So these are the things that constitute the leadership, entrepreneurial leadership. So that's the concept of entrepreneurial leadership, which is needed for you to be able to thrive and sustain your business. Now, to the next one, we then come back to relationship. Now, like I mentioned before, relationship is pivotal to everything we do. Okay, so you cannot underestimate the relationship aspect of your business. There are doors you will not be able to open. There are markets you will not be able to win without relationship. Relationship, you don't think about relationship just about for relationship's sake. Relationship can be your relationship with your mentor. Relationship can be your relationship with your, the professionals you are bringing on board to come help you, consultants, the advisors or advisory, that you are bringing on board. your the people that are working for you. Okay, so this is all about students. So you will never become your potential until you have been able to unlock certain relationship. So you have to unlock and harness the relationship that God has placed around you. Okay, so because nobody has been able to build something significant alone. So you are too small a number to achieve greatness. That is the quote from John C. Maxwell. He says that's the law of significance in his 21 laws of leadership. He says you are too small a number to achieve greatness. That if you look at everybody around, you can see that there is nobody that has been able to achieve something significant in life without having a team. So team member is very important, and this is where relationship comes in. So you can call this team membership. I mean, you can call this teamwork. You can call it networking, and call it relationship. I decide to put it as relationship. So work with people because you alone cannot achieve anything. And when I'm talking about relationship, I'm talking about all the people that you will be needed in your value chain to be able to execute your business mandate. That's what we mean. So by relationship. And how do you uh, make good use, or how do you achieve or get the highest benefit, impact, influence out of the relationship that you have? Number one is that you have to genuinely love people. Now, if you do not genuinely love your customers, you will not be able to create the product that fits into solving their problems. Okay. If you do not, you as a business minded person, okay, genuine love is at the root of you being able to cater for your customer. It's absolutely inherently important for you to be able to genuinely love your customer, because this is what leads to customer satisfaction. This is what helps you to be able to do things that will help you be able to satisfy your customer. Okay. Then the next thing is honor. Okay. And of course, this also go for loving people, genuinely loving people. It goes for the other people in your value chain, not only for your customer, for your partner, your co-founder, your workers. Okay. Also go, it goes for, people working with you, consultants. Genuinely love people. Don't aim at using people. Okay, when you set out to work with people, or when you set out to approach people to work for you, make sure that you are doing it from a place of love, not a place of what can I get from it alone. Okay, definitely it's important that, okay, when you're entering the relationship with people in a business or professional setting, of course the value the person is bringing to the table is important, but as much as the person is bringing value to the table, you too have to contribute something to this person. And this contribution or this relationship can work in the win-win situation if there is a genuine love for people in the heart of the people working together. Then the next one will be honor. Honor people. You don't honor people for honoring sake. You honor people for their track record. You honor people for what they've been through, the sacrifices they've made, the achievement and accomplishment they have been able to make achieve in their life. For people to, no matter where people are in their journey in life, learn to honor them for who they are. Okay, learn to honor them for what they've been able to achieve. Whether you are 100 and 1,000 times bigger than them, do not never look down on people. Honor people for who they are. Then number three is value. Okay, you have to be valuable. Don't be a taker, but a contributor. And this also is what I mentioned here. Always seek a win-win relationship with people. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. So that is for relationship. So the next concept that we also teach, apart from spirituality, entrepreneurial leadership, relationship. The next one is system and structure. Okay, this has been dealt with by our barista. One of the reasons why we don't have long-lasting business is that we don't put system and structures in place. Systems and structures are important to be able to build a thriving and a sustainable business. If you don't have system, you don't have structure, collapse is imminent. Okay, so if you're building a system and structure, then there are certain things that has to be in place. Number one of it, of course, is structure. So what is structure? As defined, like the barista mentioned, it's just you having things in place that helps you to get things done. that structure, organizational chart, the structure of your business, whether you want to do a partnership or a limited liability company or a sole proprietorship, stuff like that. It encompasses hierarchy, rules, and responsibility. That's what structure is all about. So, and a well-defined structure is essential for promoting clear communication, efficient decision making, and accountability. So, this is what structure helps you achieve. It helps you achieve the promotion of clear communication, efficient decision making, and lastly, accountability in your organization. Then the next one will be system. So system is the interconnection, how things are connected together. People, processes, technology, information, and everything cohesively, how they connect together in your business. All right. So how does every touch point in your value chain, how does your value chain is a system? Okay, how from the initial conception of your product to the delivery of your product to the final user, I mean, to the point at which your final user uses your product, that's to your value chain. This is one entire big system of a business. You can also have accounting system, you can have the people management system, you can have, what else, different kind of system in your business. All these systems have to run as individual, but in a they have to work well as individual, but work interconnectedly. So when all your system are working well, then you are having a great system. So understanding system is crucial for organization, as it helps them to identify dependency. It also helps you to optimize your workflow, and it helps you to address inefficiency that may arise from management among your components. So, like I mentioned, each component of your business is a system on its own. And when all these components are working together, then you have an interconnected system, which is what you want to achieve. So that um, you know the weakest the to how to know if a system is weak is to know to know you are to conduct how do I say this? So you are conducting an audit of all the components of your system. Okay. When you conduct an audit of all the components of your system, say, for example, let's use your value chain as an example, from the conception of a product up to the point where your final consumer uses your product. If you do an audit of this value chain process, now the weakest of that value chain process is how weak your entire business is. Okay. So same thing is your accounting system. If you look at your accounting system, if you check if you can conduct a an audit of this accounting system, the weakest point of your accounting system shows the weakness of your whole accounting system. Okay, so each point in your system determines how weak your system is, and this is what you should always do after conducting an audit. Then you should always look for a way to fix the loopholes, the weak point in your business, because that could be the point where the break, where the collapse of the entire system that you are building might come from. All right. So always try as much as possible to look through your system, as a business person, you're into sustainability. Is it your sustainable system that is you conduct an audit in your sustainable uh, system? What part of your sustainable system is not working or running well? This you need to fix, because if you don't fix it, it might be the downfall of your whole entire business system. So always conduct business audit, system audit, to ensure that your business runs well, thrives, and becomes sustainable. Okay, so under system and structure and system, then we come to processes. So processes, of course, is a series of coordinated activity or steps that you need to do to achieve a particular goal. So if you go through, so processes are often repeatable and structured, aiming for efficiency, quality, and consistency in how you perform your work. Okay, so that's what, if they are repeating things that you do repeatedly. Okay, that's what we refer to as processes. So your processes is what makes up your system, and your systems makes up your structure. Okay, so all your processes, you have to be able to know them as the back of your palm, and be able to know what things you need to do, what are the processes that you have to do. And the best way to do this is to have an SOP. Okay, so make sure that you try as much as possible to create SOP for each of your processes or each of your systems. So if you do this, it helps you to be able to sustainable in the sense that the SOP will help the person who is coming on board to hit the ground running so that you don't use your company as an accountant and then you don't have an SOP, which is the standard operating procedure. Then the the person has to learn your process again because there is nothing that has been built which the person will just step into to learn the whole process and then hit the ground running. So it's always good to have an SOP, and this SOP helps your process to be standardized. So that is the best way to standardize your um your process. Have an SOP. So that's what I would say about process. So for process, SOP is important. And then the next one will be the strategy. So strategy, of course, means the approach, the high level plans or approaches designed to achieve long-term objective and create sustainable competitive advantage. So high level plans and approaches. This also is uh, your strategy helps you to build system in terms of setting up SOP. And so the strategy leads to process. Is the strategy you want to achieve that helps you to know this kind of process you are going to create, which leads to a particular system. So ensure that you have strategy for each of the touch points of your business or each of the uh, aspect or component of your system, right? So this is the way to, to build a sustainable business. Strategy is very important. And when we talk about strategy, what we are saying is that we are here and we are going there. So how do we move from here to there? For example, what's your strategy for market entry? What is your strategy for new product development? What is your strategy for, um, anything you want to do, what is your strategy for it? Strategies are very important. You should always have strategy if you know that you want to build a sustainable system. And lastly is the platform. Okay, so the platform you choose, okay, after you've been able to, this might be part of your strategy, okay, which helps you to know how to connect with your final user, your customer and your final user. So your platform can be physical, it can be digital. But this is the infrastructure that you use in delivering your product or service to those who actually need them. Okay, to those who you are creating the product or services for. That is your final consumer or your customers. Okay, so which platform do you want to use? It's very important. And for this platform, I will let you see this. So when we are talking about a platform, I want you to look at the concept of five. So, uh, for system and structure in general, let's look at the concept of five. So, the concept of five means or one five. You follow the concept, the power of one. Okay, the power of one. So, you look at one target market to solve one problem for one target market, and you create one offer for this problem, and you use one platform for 1 year. Then, if you can follow this concept, this five power of one, okay, for 1 year, create a product or a service for for one target market. Don't look at 10, 2, 3 targeted markets. Just get one target market and then look for one problem in particular that is actually ravaging these target markets. Then create one offer for this or one solution for this problem, and then use one platform to deliver this problem, this solution, this offer to all these people and do it for 1 year. And then you will see that this will help you to scale. So this is the summary of your system and structure. Okay, use the power of one. Okay, so for your system and structure, the power of one will be, if you don't take anything away from the system and structure concept, take this power of one away, which is look at one target market, create one look for one problem this target market has, create an offer, one offer. You use one means of ways of serving this offer to this target market and do it for 1 year, and then you will see the results. So this should be what we should look at as a what we should do, like the exercise that we should do. But because of our time, maybe I will combine it with the last exercise because we still have one more exercise. So let's look at the last part, which is scale. So the last part is scaling. So how do you scale? And then I want to introduce to you the concept of reverse engineering. So for the concept of reverse engineering is the process of analyzing a finished product or service or a system to understand its components, design, and function. So if you want to introduce reverse engineering for you to be able to scale, you are looking at a finished product, a built system, or a solid system, a thriving product or a thriving service. You want to look at what makes up, what are the value chain, what are the components that make this service or this product or this system to be what it is today. So you dissect them, and after dissecting them, then as an entrepreneur, you use this approach to then learn from existing solution. Then by identifying best practices, you the innovate and then you innovate or improve on their offering. So this is one way to do your go-to-market strategy. So one way to do your go-to-market strategy is to use this reverse engineering, where you study, say you pick a product. You study the product, look at what the product is doing, look at what they can do better, look at probably what the customers are saying about the product, and then you innovate based on what you have been able to see, and then you improve on it to make your own offering or to make your own offering much more better. So that's reverse engineering. So what are the components of reverse engineering? Number one is that you extract information. So the information, you get that information based on the best practices that the component or the product or the company is doing, depending on what it is that you want to analyze. Okay. So say, for example, you want to enter into a market. So you want to look at the firm. It might not be in your even in your field, and probably it might be in your field. Okay, irrespective, just look at, okay, this market that I'm going to enter. Okay, who are the players in this market? What are they doing right? What are they doing wrong? What are their customers saying? What are the things that we can improve on? Okay, so once you gather information from this, then you have to do a modeling. So modeling is the practice of then combining and gathering information into an abstract model, which can be used as a guide for designing your own product, service, or object. Okay, so you gather information, then you model this information that you have gotten from the product, the service, the business that you have seen, and then you review by testing whatever it is to your customer. And in this process, okay, when this process of reverse engineering, you're using it to create your MPV. Now, in creating your MPV, there's a mistake a lot of entrepreneurs make. There's something we call the definition of done. You should have the point where you come to that definition of point. Your initial offering, when you are building it, I know most of you are in this phase already where you're building your MPV, or you are iterating already. Don't iterate forever. Push your product out to the final consumer. Let them use it. They are the best people who can give you the right advice to know what to do next. Okay. So the definition of done means that after you have done what you need to do, the initial part of creating this product, okay, you have created it up to a point you feel it is ready to be pushed to the consumer. Anything you are doing after that point is a waste of energy, waste of resources. Okay, in general, it's a waste of resources because when you create your MPV, all right, you can see that even Facebook, Meta, as of today, they still do. They will tell you that we are they are still, how do I say that? I don't want to say pivot, but they are still, bringing out a newer version. And this is what iPhone is using. That's why you have iPhone 16 Pro Max, iPhone 17, iPhone 18. Okay. They know their definition of done. If you are iterating and adding another concept, you're adding to the quality, you're adding to whatever it is that you have created before, then you means that you will not have another new version in the future, which can even earn you more money. Okay, this is a concept that iPhone is using. They did not bring their best product out last year. Their best product is going to be the next one. Okay, and they are going to be creating another best one after that one. So this is what we refer to as the definition of done. Okay, done, D-O-E-N. Okay, know what is your definition of done. So the most important thing is that create a product that is standard enough, of course, following the standard, international standard that you can follow. Push it to your final consumer, let them use it and give you the feedback. They will tell you, oh, this is not working well. This is what I feel. I wish this works. I wish, and of course, you should be paying attention to their feedbacks. Whatever feedback you have from the customer will help you to iterate, will help you to pivot, will help you to improve on your product and your services. So this is one thing I would like to mention at this point of your reverse engineering. And then how does this reverse engineering apply to entrepreneur? You need to want to understand your competitors. Understand who you want to be competing with, like I mentioned. If you are entering into a new market, okay, or you are launching a new product, who are the people who have been operating in this space before? Learn from them, know what they are doing, and then you do your innovation and your own improvement, which I said at this point, know what is your definition of done so that you can be able to improve on it much more later. And at that point, after understanding your competitor, you innovate and you improve, then you move into inspiration for new solutions. So this is what, for example, uh, iPhone uses for them to be able to categorize their product, where they say they have iPhone 10, iPhone 10, 20, iPhone 30, iPhone, whatever it is. Okay. So you can also apply these concepts to your business. Don't bring out don't, how do I say it? Don't model up everything you have as a quality of the product at once. As long as you know that this product function at its barest minimum, push it out first. Of course, I'm not saying push out shabby output. That's not what I'm saying. And that's why I mentioned follow international standard. As soon as you follow the international standard up to the point you know that this product is ready to be put, or service is ready to be pushed out to customer, push it out, let them use it and give you feedback. So from the feedback, you iterate and then you're able to improve on the product. Okay, so of course, what are the examples of green and ESG space in the ESG space? Things that we have seen. We have seen you can analyze a solar panel design, okay, or you can dissect a recycling system, or you can study a green packaging. So all of these are ways by which you can be able to increase your own quality. You can be able to improve on your own quality and stuff like that. So, and of course, these are the practical steps to follow if you want to imbibe the reverse engineering into your MPV or iteration of your product. Okay, you identify a successful product services, collect information, break down the components, then identify the strengths and the weaknesses of the products you're analyzing. Then, based on these 4 steps, you then innovate and then adapt your own product to your customer. Okay, so these are the best practices for reverse engineering. So now to innovate and to adapt your product to your customer. So if you're not going to take anything out of today's presentation,
Yeah,
I want you to take
the charger is
this
not
out.
working, so I'm unable to charge the phone.
So there are different ways by which company innovates. And
Oh,
first-time entrepreneurs mostly focus on their products, such that they want to spend all their time on revising their product. And this is why, like I mentioned, know what is your definition of done. After following the international standard, you can follow. Push your product out as soon as you know you have something functional, something that is working. Let your customer give you a review and let them tell you what you need to work on. So if you see an entrepreneur focusing primarily on product, then you will know that this is a first-time entrepreneur. So if you don't focus on product, the next stage you can focus on is your distribution channel. You see, any product can sell if you have good distribution channel, no matter how shabby the product is. Okay, but of course, if the product is shabby, if the product is not that good, it means that the beginning of the end of the product is already at hand. Okay, so that's why you want your product to be meet the standard, international standard it can meet. And then what you want to focus on is your distribution channel. Distribution channel is very important. Okay, your distribution channel is very, very important, not your product. Don't if you're not getting the results you want, don't think it's your product that is bad. It might not necessarily be. It might just be that you're not reaching the people, your targeted market enough. And this is where your distribution channel comes in. And then another way you can innovate is through your value chain in your production process, whether production of a product or production of your service. Which one can you work on more? Which one can you reiterate? Which one can you change? Which one can you make better? And in all these three aspects, how can you do this to create innovation? You can focus on being cheaper. You can focus on being faster. You can focus on being better. But the best way to really achieve your goal of innovation is to focus on these three. Make your product cheaper, your service or product or your offering. Make it cheaper, make it faster, make it better. Okay. So now, depending on which one of these three areas you want to focus on, whether it's products you want to focus on, whether it's a distribution channel you want to focus on, or whether your value chain you want to focus on. Of course, some people or some entrepreneurs will say, okay, why not focus on the three also? Why you're also trying to make it cheaper, faster, and better? Well, that's okay. But I can bet you, like I mentioned before, in the power of one. Focusing on one of them, making it cheaper, better, or faster. You see, if focusing on this contract alone, out of the 9 quadrants that we have here, your product being cheaper, if that's your major aim, you focus, you lock in, okay, on this, making use cost-effective ingredient without compromising quality. If this is what you want to focus on, this can be your unique selling point or your differentiating factor. And that can be your innovation that drives your product or that drives your entire your brand. Okay. And of course, some people will decide to focus on this part of this thing. It can be value chain and then making it better. So in this case, it has to be a continuous improvement on your product quality through customer feedback and innovating recipes, ensuring consistent satisfaction. So whatever it is that you want to focus on, just I would advise is that pick one of these three and start with one of these three also. Whether on the innovation aspect, you want to make it cheaper, you want to make it faster, you want to make it better, or on your focus, you want to focus on the product or focus on the distribution or focus on the value chain. One out of these three, and then take whatever it is that you stay in the contract that you want to focus on and make your innovative output, make your output more innovative, make your service product offering more innovative. Any of these quadrants is fine. Okay. So based on this, I would then be giving you, that will be the end. This is just a summary of the reverse engineering with the innovation that I've just talked about. So what you need to do is to identify successful competitor, analyze their value chain, break down system and processes, and then adapt and innovate. So this is the entire thing that I'm talking about, the summary of the entire thing that I'm talking about. So in this case, what I'm saying is that after looking outside, also look inwards. So reverse engineering helps you look outside. This helps you look inward. Okay. After you have seen what other people are doing, then this will help you know which aspect to focus on: product, distribution channel, or value chain, and then what you are doing, whether it's better, faster, or cheaper. So based on this, I want you to do your own. So there are two things I would like you to do for me, and this will be one of the things I'm going to be using in judging your attendance for this uh, uh, training. So I want you to create this for your own business. Okay. Uh, Product, distribution channel, and value chain. What can you do cheaper? What can you do faster? What can you do better? So maybe you want to take a picture of this. So take a picture of this and use it to create your own. Okay. You need it to create your own. And I want everybody to submit this to us. Okay. You're going to submit this to us through email. And of course, this is one of the things I'm going to be using in judging your attendance for this training. So please, I will send this to the group, this part to the group. Maybe I will send this also to the group so that you can see it. So I'll take a picture of this, send to the group, and then I'll take a picture of this, I'll send it to the group. So you're supposed to complete these as individuals. Okay. And this part also, all right. Also, I need you to also do this part for as assignments. Okay, so this and that part would be what you need to do for us for this training. Okay, so with that, that will be the end of my presentation for today. Any question, please?
Yes, hello. Thank you for an amazing
Hi,
presentation. Yes, I hope you can hear me. My network is not really that good.
I can hear you.